welcome to the second portion of tonight's meeting, everyone. Public Works Recreation Committee. I am your chair, Councillor Trombetta. Please note that Councillor Cody sends his regrets. Any change in orders of items on the agenda? Seeing none. Any disclosure of peculiar interest, conflicts of interest? Seeing no head shaking, so that means none. Appointments, there are none. Anything request to anyone there? I guess Joanne, is anybody there to request any items on the agenda that I'm not aware about? Emails or anything?
What's going on? The meeting. Hey.
Mike's on, Councillor Yonker.
What's up now?
I didn't know it started, just to let you know.
I think he's a dog.
Maybe if you just night for us.
Wi-Fi. Anybody?
Thank you.
It's a little better.
Councillor Yonker, your mic's on.
No, I have not received nothing, no.
Thank you. Hope everything's okay, Councillor Yonker, and everybody's calm over there. We'll continue on. Consent agenda items, move on. Consent agenda items, Public Works Recreation Committee hereby approve the following consent agenda items. Item 1, be hereby received for information. Item 2, 3, and 4, be hereby received for recommendations contained therein to be adopted with the exception of number 1, West Lincoln Public Library Board minutes, July 17, 2020 and August 28, 2020. Recommendation report, PW 2620, 2020 Bridge Rehabilitation Project under a budget amendment. Number 3, recommendation report, PW 23, 2020, new 2020 tandem axle plow truck tender authorization. And recommend number 4, recommendation report, PW 25, 2020 Town Hall Library Space Renovation, PW 2020-06 tender award. I need a mover and a seconder for this. Mr. Mayor, Councillor Ganan. All those, anybody want to pull anything? Councillor Riley?
Pull number 4.
Sure. Okay, I need a mover, a seconder for that, actually. Anybody? I don't need one, sorry.
No,
It's
you
been a
do.
while. We'll pull number 4 on all the other 3. So there's nothing else on the 3, so Councillor Riley, I guess, do you want to vote on all 3 first, everybody, or?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I missed who seconded it. I heard Councilor Riley, but I didn't hear second.
Does anybody want a second?
Sorry, who was that? Sorry, I don't know, I'm not hearing very well.
Councillor Shimmy seconded.
Can somebody tell me who seconded it?
Okay, Councillor, Madam Clerk, so Mr. Mayor and Councillor Ganand moved it, and Councillor
Okay.
Riley pulled item 4, but I didn't see a seconder to pull number 4,
You don't need one.
which we don't, right? So,
No, you just need to vote on the first 3, and then we'll.
okay, so it was moved by Mr. Mayor and Councillor Ganand. So for items number 1, 2, and 3, all those in favor? And that carries. Item number 4, Councillor Riley, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess through you to, I'm actually not even sure who, maybe the CEO. As I'm going through the reports here, I'm always fascinated to kind of digest how the tendering process works. And so I know we budgeted, what was it, about, I guess, $300,000 for this. And I see we got a budgeting, I guess, a tender came in at 238, and I'm just trying to look for clarity of how this equals a perfect 300,000. And so I'm just trying to understand it under miscellaneous and non-recover HST. Is it just rounded up so that you just have that as a placeholder? Is that what I'm understanding, or is this just magically worked out that way?
Through you, Chair Trombetta, to Councillor Riley, Director of Public Works is going to respond to this one.
Through the chair to Councillor Riley, on the breakdown there under current situation, you're correct. Like the tender came in at 238,000, and there's another 39,000 of architect fees, and then the non-recoverable and the miscellaneous. Yeah, there's a little bit of a project contingency in there to round it up to the 300. So
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure I understand that, because it just, everybody else, you know, it's relatively close for the most part, actually. Everyone's missing each other by a few $1,000s. I just thought, wow, what are the odds? So anyways, thank you for clarifying that, that's all.
It could also be excellent budgeting.
Yes, that too.
Okay, any other further questions, Councillor Riley? Okay, so I see none. All those in favor of item 4, and that's carried.
Council, or Chair, Madam, or
Yeah.
Mr. Chair, need a seconder, I'll second that.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, seconding that.
Thank you, I was just asking that question.
The mayor seconds it. Again, all those in favor? Anybody opposed? Seeing none, it's carried. There's no communications, staff reports, item PW 1320, Director of Public Works Recreation, Mr. Mike DePaula, information report, PW 2720, 2019 roads need study and gravel road assessment. Recommendation that report PW 2720 read 2019 roads need study and gravel road assessment dated September 21st, 2020 be received for information. I need a mover for that. Councillor Yonker, seconded by Councillor Gannon. Any comments or questions? Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I just want to highlight, this is, I think, a document that we can all feel much more comfortable with and we can take ownership of, and I'm glad that it came with the presentation. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that the road needs study that we had in 2014 was received before Councillor Trombetta and myself were on council, and I hope that they got a presentation that they understood, but to receive it halfway was never really something that was helpful for at least the chair and myself as and maybe even Councillor Rayner. So to have this presentation accompany the study means that I understand it a whole lot better, and I think Councillor or Chair, you probably do too, as does Councillor Rayner. So for the benefit of all, I think that was very worthwhile to listen to Mr. Dave Hein.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anything else? Joanne, can you shut your mic off, because it seems to be going back and forth between yourself and the mayor there. Thank you. Anybody else? Any comments, questions? I got a couple there. Oh, sorry, Councillor Yonker. Go ahead. Go ahead, and I'll speak afterwards.
Yeah, I just was going to speak at the other when he made the presentation, but my feed was terrible. The joys of competing with your daughter who's in college in a class upstairs versus. So my feed hasn't been the greatest tonight, but it's settled down now, I think. And yeah, that was a great presentation. There was a lot of meat to that presentation. A lot of it just really shows that that the need study was needed, and to see it now as a counselor and say, yeah, this is what we need to do is a lot better than what we would like to do, right? And that's what was good to see. Yeah, we all know where the traffic is and where people complain and all that, but to really put some meat to the bones was good. And I just was happy to see that report. Sorry I missed the meeting that we were supposed to have with that, but technical problems there at work too, so.
Thank you, Councillor Yonker. Anybody else, or Councillor Rayner, nobody have anything else on this, or? Sorry, I thought I saw your hand there. You might.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I thought it was excellent. It was such a difference from the previous one that we experienced that really had no recognition or caring about the people in the rurals. This one took the whole map and did the whole township properly, and I think it will serve us well in the future. And it also gives some recognition to what a lot of us out there have been fighting for a long time, but nobody's been listening. So it's great, and I just hope we can now do something with it, and people out there who've been crying and complaining for a long time, hopefully will now have an opportunity to see things change. And I know the mayor's got it on his mandate to do it, so let's wait and see. Thank you.
Any other members of council? There's nothing, I got a few. So just to get maybe all council up to speed there, I questioned the region there, because I did have a meeting with the mayor and the director and Albert about downloading some of our roads, or uploading some of our old roads that were downloaded to us previously from the region. I think, I'm a little bit younger, so maybe someone can step in here, Councilor Rayner can step in here maybe. Caister Center used to be a regional road at one point, and it was uploaded, or downloaded to West Lincoln. And I don't know I know that's one because it's in my ward. Maybe someone else can talk about other roads that were downloaded to West Lincoln. So the theory, I'll get to you, Councilor, and I'll finish, and then we'll go over with that. The theory behind that was if we were to upload and the region assumes some of the roads back, it frees up some money that we don't have to spend on those roads anymore, and then we can invest into other roads of our municipality. So that's the reason for that. We're trying to push the region to take them back, but we haven't heard back, and that's why I kind of asking the region today to kind of report back to us on that. I really like this report. The other report that we had, it was nothing in comparison to what we had today. I'd like to thank our Director DePaula. He did put a lot of work into this, everyone, and he needs to be acknowledged by that, that it was a lot of work. And I'm hoping to see that this council can get some of the stuff done, and hopefully we could free up some of the, undo our belts a little bit to get some roads out for this next budget, but we're gonna have to see how hopefully we can work together and we can still bang some stuff out that was recommended in this report. So I think it's a good report. I think this is gonna be the new Bible for the future for roads, I think, out here, which is really good, and I hope to continue that and get some of this stuff done on there. So I'd like to thank Director DePaula, and hopefully we can see something in the near future. Councilor Rayner, you had something to say?
Yes, you asked specifically Caister Center Road. I believe many, many years ago, Caister Center Road was called Road 6. And then it got changed to Road 44, I believe, and then it became Caister Center Road. Originally, I thought it was with the Township of West Lincoln. Then it was uploaded to the region. Then the road got in really rough shape, and the region said, well, I'm not gonna pay for this, so they dumped it back to the township. The township has since repaved it, not hard surface, but repaved it, as other councilors from previous council will know. And so now, that's where we sit. So it's been flipped, it's been flopped, it's been done everything, it's had different names. It's done everything over the last 50 or 60 years, from what I gather from the people who've lived there all their life. I want to understand it correctly, what was said earlier today. It's hard to believe this is true, but maybe I must have misinterpreted. The idea is if we've got a road that we don't really want to spend the money on, we can upload it to the region, and if the region takes it, they'll fix it, and then they'll download it to us after it's fixed. That sounds like somebody's giving us nothing. Am I misinterpreting this?
I think the region wants the road in 100% condition before they take it from us, but I'll let the director answer that.
Can we get clarity on that, please? That's what it sounded like. We'll take your broken road, fix it, and then we'll give it back to you. And that can't be right.
Through the chair to Councilor Rayner, yeah, let's go back. It was back in 2000 when the region downloaded a bunch of roads to the local municipalities. And in West Lincoln, there was, I believe, 5 of them. I have the list here. Obviously, Region Road 16, which was Port Davison Road. Region Road 6, Caister Center Road that we talked about. Region Road 8, Grassy Road, was a regional road at one time and downloaded in 2000. And so was Regional Road 18, Mountain Road. That was just that small section, kind of a boundary road between Lincoln and West Lincoln. And Region Road 22, Camden Road. So when it was downloaded in 2000, it was just a download to the area municipalities. But the director at the region mentioned that a study was done in 2009, and the outcome of that was any uploads or downloads, it would be the municipality's responsibility to fix the road before uploading it. So when I wrote to the director at the region, I did acknowledge that we're willing to talk to him about it, but just remember back in 2000, that wasn't the flavor of the time back then. They were just downloaded in any condition that they were in. So hopefully the region, negotiates fairly with us.
Great, thank you, Mr. Director.
Mr. Chair, so you're saying that maybe the region be willing to take roads that are not in the bestest shape back based on the past? Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, a couple things, not really, through the chair to Councilor Rayner, are the two roads that we wanted to upload that I identified in the letter, like Fort Davidson Road, that has recently been paved, and that's probably why I suggested that one, because I know their philosophy of we want the roads to be in good shape.
What's the other one?
The other one is Kaser Center, and, the director mentioned that this study was done in 2009, and I believe the township has done some improvements in 2010, 2011, getting ready for that upload, but those discussions never go there.
Mr. Chair, if I may proceed still?
Yes, you can.
Thank you. There's two variables to this, Mr. DePaula. Number one is it is asphalt from Highway 20 to 65. It is surface treatment from 65 to South Chip. If they take all of Kaster Center Road, and as I mentioned earlier in the discussion, Mr. Hine was there, there's parts of that surface treatment that are past due and are cracking very badly, specifically from Concession 3 South all the way to South Chip. You're saying the region may not take that back unless we resurface them like was done just a couple years ago from the patch between 65 to Concession 3, which is 1.5 kilometers long. So if they finish the rest of it, then we're gonna give them the road back, and the road's gonna be from one end to the other in mint condition? Is that your intent, or are you hoping they will take that back and then they'll fix those two roads so that we don't have to have it in our budget?
Through the chair to Councilor Rayner, the latter would be my position, but let's see
Thank you.
where negotiations land.
I'm hoping, that's what I'm hoping too. That would be fantastic.
I'm hoping.
That's a lot of money.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
Sorry, seeing none, all those in favor? And that's carried. Moving on, item PW 1420, Director of Public Works Mike DePaula, information report REC Rec 0320, West Lincoln Community Community Center COVID-19 reopening update. Recommendation of report RFI Rec 032020 West Lincoln Community Center COVID-19 reopening update dated September 21st, 2020 be received for information. I need a mover for that. Councilor Riley, seconded by Councilor Yonker. Comments or questions? Did you have your hand there, Councilor Yonker? No? Seeing no comments or questions, all those in favor? And that's carried. Moving on, other business, item PW 1520. So myself, hall boards and facilities for discussion. So I brought this forward, so I'll give you a little bit of history. I received, now that obviously COVID's came into play, a lot of people have been coming into the municipality. They drive by, they see our lovely facilities, and and I get it, that we have a lot to offer out here, but people are looking for that more quiet, not busy area. So, they see, I'll just use down the road, they see Abingdon Hall Community Center, and they're thinking, wow, that'd be a good place I can, have a little barbecue outside and, have the, the family there for a little barbecue and so on and so forth, and maybe have a get-together when we were under, when we were within the changes before Ford made it the other day. So what people do in hindsight is they drive by, they see Kaser Center Community Hall. The first thing people do is they type that in Google, and what happens in Google, you see your phone, it comes up, and you hit the button call. So what happens is that number leads to the hall board. Well, first that number led to to, and what was relayed back to me, that number was relayed to a person who said they weren't involved anymore. And then they forwarded them another number, and the individual stated that they didn't have any capabilities of keeping the washrooms clean or anything like that. So obviously the people were a little upset, and the call came to me and saying, well, you know, how is that run by the town if the town, you know, is not willing to have washrooms clean or anything like that? And I understand it's the hall board, but what my whole point of the matter is that those incidents are reflecting us as councillors and us as the town. When an individual calls and then someone on the other line is telling them, sorry, you can't get in there because I'm not coming to clean the bathroom pretty much, and they're deterred away, you know, that's lost revenue that the town is losing. In some senses, word of mouth is huge, I think. So where I brought this up for discussion is that something needs to be, I guess, aligned with our staff and our municipality on how to respond to this stuff, how to book these facilities. Again, this is something that's going to have to happen the next couple of years because you know, people are going to start to look for other avenues to go out and something private, something quiet, and you know, Abingdon Hall is a great place. So, you know, I would like to see, you know, something from the municipality to work with these hall boards or vice versa, not to deter people away from our municipality. We want to make this a great place, and getting information that way, we need to get it to the people that are making these calls and trying to book these facilities. So I opened it up. This is the experience I had. I see the mayor's hand there, so I'll let him speak next. And then if anybody else wants to chime in here, by all means, go ahead.
So thank you, Councillor, for raising the question and stimulating a discussion. It's been very important for me. I think the CAO can attest that was one of my first thoughts about when I came into office as mayor a couple of years ago. That I'm a little biased because I love the Silverdale Hall and I love the hall board of the Silverdale Hall. They're very active. They put on a good show. They raise a lot of funds, both for the hall itself. They've done kitchen work in there, and they've done parking lot work recently. They got a top-notch barbecue for their barbecues and cookers and such. Lots of volunteers to show up, and that doesn't come easily, which is why I commend the hall board over there, headed up by Haynes and Chris Frere and Den Hollanders and they're community neighbor people. And I wanted to duplicate the same both in Wellandport and Caister, and it was important for me to have that part of our strategic plan. So that was part of our discussions during the strategic plan, and I had in mind when I talked about community mindedness, the idea of our hall boards, because I think they're real. When they're running well, they're very cherished, and I cast no aspersions. That's just a motherhood statement. And so it's important to do this. Now, the other thing, and you are aware, we did apply for, but were refused some monies to improve the Abingdon Hall or the Caister Center Hall. And so that did throw a loop into it, and the second loop, of course, was COVID. So, your point is valid. There is they're not operating up to snuff, and COVID's not helping because Silverdale has been shut down. All those activities that we do there are done in the parking lot until recently when I think the bus company rents it for some first aid training and those kind of things. So, it is part of our strategic plan. That's a plus. The staff is well aware and have been applying for grants to assist us, in particular with the Caister Center Hall. And thirdly, you know, it's a high priority for myself and has been for the day one. So I'm glad that you brought it up. Because then I think we can take some ownership, and I think really ultimately what we need to do is inspire the local hall board to And that's all three, but to take ownership, because ultimately, like you said, it does, these hall boards are made up of volunteers. It's very important that there's good community, neighborhood buy-in, because the municipality, we don't want to start putting a person on staff to do this, what volunteers are doing, and because they have been successful in the past. So I'm glad you brought it up. It's very important to me, and we'll see where this discussion goes from here.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, the only reason I brought it up is because these people wanted to just have a barbecue outside with 20 people. And they said, hey, can we have the facility, we got children, if we need to go in to use the bathroom, we don't want to use the hall, we just want to use the bathroom. And they were told, sorry, we don't have someone to clean the bathroom. And they were taken away. I understand the hall board runs it, but these are our facilities. These are our properties that we have to maintain, that our tax dollars go to.
Yeah, there is a unique relationship.
It is, you're right. And I find Silverdale runs a lot more sufficient than Caister, right? Which I know you know as well. What my point of matter is that these people that were coming, if they were given a price of $100, I'm quite sure they would have paid just to have the washrooms there and get people in there to use them. But they were told, sorry, we don't have nobody to clean the bathrooms. That sort of message is what I have issues with. Being deterred away is, again, we maintain the grass, we maintain the facility, we pay for our tax dollars are for maintaining that facility. By the hall board saying to someone, sorry, you can't book it, and deters them away, those people tell somebody else, and no one books the place. But again, what people are doing is, they're driving by, oh, that's a great facility, 20 people, it's got a nice pavilion there, maybe we could just have a little bit of a barbecue out here, get out of this big city congestion, let's get in there. And they're getting deterred away. So we got to come up with something to say, hey, listen, we're open for business in West Lincoln, we're not closed. So I'm looking at you, Mr. Mayor, to help me with that. I know you're saying about grants, I'm not asking for a new hall here. I'm asking for some consistency. I'm asking for a key and a bathroom openness to say, if someone calls, we're open for business, we're not closed. And this was during the summer, like July, August. This was not during the height of COVID. This was July and August when some of the restrictions were all off. So I need some help from you, Mr. Mayor, because again, this is a town just like everyone else, and we got to show that we're open for our community. So.
You're the chair. Don't turn your mic off.
Sorry, I thought I was not chairing anymore. I apologize. Go ahead, Councilor Riley.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh no, what do we do from here? I just to, I guess, make a quick comment on what you just said there, and to play maybe a little bit devil's advocate. I think given the pandemic we're in, I think, again, talking to what the mayor said before about people's comfort level, perhaps the biggest mistake that was made here is that maybe the hall board should have just had a blanket statement that it was unavailable, and I think maybe they were a little too honest and too transparent with the reason why they couldn't accommodate it by saying, we don't want to clean it or whatever they said. And so, I agree that, West Lincoln is open for business and we need to be able to capitalize on every dollar we can get because, that is $1 less we have to worry about putting on the community. But again, I think there maybe could be a little bit more, I guess the word we're looking for, like adequate or some kind of better way of phrasing that they might need to have just brought by them. So if they aren't able to get staff, because maybe it was staffing and someone thought they could just be, a little bit honest or real with them, instead of saying, sorry, we're unavailable, they tell them, oh, we'd have to pay somebody at washrooms, and we're not going to worry about it because they're thinking in the back of their mind, how am I going to get somebody in to do that? I don't know. All I'm saying is that maybe that's a conversation I'm going to need with the boards with how to handle that if they're unable to offer those kinds of services or features. But I agree, I think we need to do something more, and I think we should be trying to promote revenue in any way we can get it in a safe way, but not miss out on opportunities that could, save the taxpayer.
So I guess I'm looking for some direction, Madam CAO, of what we can go from here. If a letter needs to be sent to the hall board in response from council, if a recommendation needs to be put forward to make sure that the hall boards communicate with the town hall on how the facilities are run. I just can't. What bothers me is the answer no. Sorry, we can't do that. And if the hall is closed because they don't want to do it because of COVID, I get it. But there's that lack of community, because it reflects on all of us. It doesn't reflect solely on the hall board. I understand the hall board runs it, But when people are trying to book in a municipality, they're blaming, oh, look at the township, they're just too lazy to come out and clean bathrooms. That's what I'm trying to get away from, when it's the hall board that's making those decisions and not us as a municipality making those decisions. So it's how to make it more transparent and get the message across to our constituents that it's not the municipality.
So, thank you through you, to Chair Trombetta. So going back to our strategic plan, under strategic goal number 4 under local attractions, we do have a really explicit statement that says we want to reinvigorate our community halls, particularly those in well-important Caister, through facility upgrades and new partnerships to ensure greater access to community programming events. So it's on our radar for sure. And they were really great when we went through the development of the alcohol use policy last year, and that's something that they have to implement. So they are great partners. I almost want to give them a pass for this year with that behavior in terms of like the requirements for cleanliness and maintenance of these facilities were horrendous, and for a tiny group to have to respond and do regular cleanings, like it is sort of onerous. And then I looked at the website, and our website is actually not bad, because it actually says that make sure you call each of the halls, because they each run their own programs and they each do it a little bit differently. So maybe that's something we need to turn our attention to that a little bit more in terms of communicating that. Like, we've never had such great pictures of our facilities up on the website. It's sort of exciting, and it has all that contact information. So I don't think I have a specific answer with you for tonight, but the staff will take it away, and we'll try to figure out how to respond.
But just to interrupt you, Madam CAO, I'm not saying our website's not great, but if you look, when people Google it, I don't know if you could see that, but that's probably hard to see. But it just, people are gonna type in Caister Community Hall, and they're gonna get a call number and the directions when they look in Google, and because they're gonna read the heading on it. And the number they're given is a 902 number 6187. So that is where the issue is on hand, is because whoever is on the part of that hall board, they're not seeing the town website when they go book this stuff. They're gonna call the hall directly. That's what people do. They search on their phone. Hey, that looks great. Let's call. What's the name? So the number that's getting directed, they're not on board with responding to these people correctly, is what's the issue I'm having. And I understand you're going to give them a pass, but I feel that they still need some training there to tell them how to respond to the constituents. That's all I'm looking for, is they need a memo sent out to how to respond. If they are closed to COVID, then they need to say that they're closed to COVID. They can't say to somebody, sorry, we're not coming to clean the bathroom, because CAO and members of council, it just does. So that's the issue that I'm having, right? So I need that kind of rectified.
Where is the phone number on the website?
So
I have to dig back into the.
Is it consistent? Sorry, so what I'm looking for, is it consistent with what's on Google? Because one, if it's not, then that's just something that needs to be changed. I'm not too sure on whose end, but whoever set that up just needs to switch the number, so there's at least some continuity or consistency with who's actually communicating with the individual.
So when you type in Caister Community Center, you don't even get a website. You get a call number and directions. If you type in, if you guys got smartphones with you, type in Caister Community Center and see what comes up.
Yeah, and I have that right now, and I see the number and all that, but saying that you should be able to fix that, like that as a business. If you had a business and you put that in, that's through Google Plus or whatever the registration is. So whoever started this needs to go in and change the number. That's all I'm saying. Sorry, I know the.
Go ahead, Mr.
Order,
Mayor.
Mr. Chair. I appreciate you've asked the question, and you've asked it 2 or 3 times, and I understand the situation. We got a problem with the phone number. We're not going to fix it tonight, and we're not going to micromanage the staff. I get it. You asked me to help. We'll get her done. We'll get all the numbers consistent. Councilor Riley, we're not going to fix it tonight. I think we should move on, because we have about 10 minutes.
We've got 4 minutes.
Mr. Mayor, excuse me, that's fine, then I'll pass a motion, I'll ask for a motion, Mr. Mayor, that we did the staff report back to us on how they're gonna fix it.
No,
Just fix it.
Hold on, just let the CAO speak, please.
If you're gonna interrupt, now I'll ask for a motion, go ahead, Madam CAO.
well, okay, maybe listen to this first and then you can do a motion if this doesn't work. We have to talk to the hall boards in the next week as we learn a little bit more about what the new restrictions mean. Because we had to define how many people they could have based on the phase 3 numbers. So now we have to go back and we have to recalculate that. So staff, we'll talk with them about that issue. We'll look into the phone number issue and see if we can fix something there. But I think there is a bigger picture in terms of the ongoing work with those, but I don't think that's maybe a 2020 solution, but something that we have to look at in the future. We need to, they're beautiful facilities, they're all great facilities, and we should be just making sure that we're using it in an appropriate way for everybody. Does that help?
That helps, Madam CAO, before I was rudely interrupted. Anyways,
I'm sorry if I interrupted you.
no, it wasn't you, I would say you, but it wasn't you, but thank you, Madam CAO. That's all I needed, some clarity when you're gonna come back, but obviously it didn't happen that way. Anyways, Councilor Yonker, you had your hand up? Good, anybody else? Councilor Rayner, nothing?
The interruption wasn't rude, Chair.
We got 3 minutes to go, let's leave it at that, guys.
We can pass a lot of the motions here, Mr. Mayor, we can keep going, I don't have a
Guys,
problem.
can wait after 11, okay? Let's move on.
Any members of council with other informative business?
No,
Nobody?
no,
You want me to come up with something?
no.
Pardon?
No, William, you've had the night. Done, we're done.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so then I'll adjourn this meeting right at 11:59. Look at that.
Can't be 11:59.
How about 10:59? But I hate to be rude.
Sorry, 10:59, my mistake, the computer's not changed here. It's older
Yeah,
model.
quick